This is Bear With Us podcast.
Well, can we add girl? I mean, we aren't all manly like you.
Okay. How's this? This is Bear With Us, girl.
No. More like girl. Like a glitter bear.
This is Bear With Us, girl.
Perfect. This is Bear With Us, girl, where we stir the honey pot with hot topics, body issues, the adult industry.
Fashion, news, pop culture, pup culture, and more.
From the bear perspective.
For and by the community.
I can barely stand it. Get it?
You're unbearable.
Okay, so I love going, like, I think of Hot Topics all the time because you're not just like a yes friend that's like, oh yeah, I agree with you, whatever. Like, we don't agree on a lot. So I save up tons of stuff. I want to know about this double standard that's happening. It's like, gay should only play gay, trans should only play trans, yet... And then we attack people for playing certain, like James Corden in The Prom, whatever. But then Harry Styles kisses a guy in The Policeman as a gay guy, and nobody says a peep. Nobody has any issue. Matt Bomer's going to play a trans character in a new film. Nobody is saying shit. Is it A, because they're hot and we don't care, or some people can get away with it and some people can't, and why?
Well, one, you're wrong about the Harry Styles thing. Everybody is annoyed by him. So that's just not getting a lot of press because he's also not getting a lot of press for his acting roles.
Well, it's his interview is what's made him. People are like, oh my God, he's terrible because he's talking like an idiot.
Yes.
But when they first did the preview, everybody was excited. Not one outlet said, oh, he shouldn't be playing gay. We were all enamored that he was playing gay.
I mean, maybe I'm just not paying attention because I'm just not paying attention to him and that thing. I think it's just one of those things people are more focused on if you're actually good at the role or not. I think that's a thing. And then it also is just how you respond to it and how you like say it. Like if you just are a straight person being like, I should be allowed to do it, then people are going to be pissed at you.
I just think it's this weird double standard. I think if it wasn't Harry Styles that everybody has a crush on, supposedly, whatever, like Shawn Mendes could probably play gay and nobody would raise an eyebrow, but...
Because it's a gay person playing a gay person. And that's queer supporting queer.
But remember when Scarlett Johansson was going to play a trans character and there was such a hullabaloo that they canceled the whole film and it never got made, and now Matt Bomer announced today that he's going to play a trans character and everybody's like, what a great actor. It's because he's hot. I guarantee you it's because he's hot.
It could also be misogyny of, you know what I mean? I do think the issue with the Scarlett Johansson thing was that it had been a history. Do you know what I mean? If it had been...
Ghost in a Shell, you mean?
If it had been somebody else, like a different like actor doing it, who this has not been something they've done often, where they've taken a role that was originally for another like underrepresented person. But Scarlett Johansson had done this many times before, where like she's played roles where they're like, this was originally in the book, this character, and now
it has become a joke. It's like she's going to play a tree in the next movie.
Exactly.
But she's a really good actor.
Okay.
What was she bad in? Give me one movie she was bad in.
I don't think she's bad. I just don't think it's one of those things like, again, like I was saying earlier, I think if you're also an incredible actor, I think that's where I'm like, anybody should be allowed to play it. But I think the whole issue is that we're still trying to get roles for, like, for example, I don't know who the actor was who he said he got more roles playing gay guys.
Stanley Tucci.
No, until he came out in real life. And then he said he got offered less roles.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where Hollywood was like, well, you can't play gay now that you're actually gay.
Oh, so, that's interesting.
So I have to look it back and remember who it was, but like there is still a weird thing of, I think, the issue of Hollywood casting it.
So I interviewed Tyler Alvarez. He's the kid on Never Have I Ever, and he's in the new Hulu rom-com with two girls. And he came out. He's only playing the jock high school kid, and he's gay. And it's like it's so funny. The roles he gets are just all straight.
I don't know.
Anyway, but I do think there's this double standard. It's like, if somebody's cute enough, then we'll let them do anything. But it's like, we flipped out. Like I said, when James Corden was in The Prom, is he a terrible actor?
Yes. But that's also because behind the scenes, he's also a terrible person.
Well.
Yeah.
but like Stanley Tucci, he's always playing the gay guy.
I love Stanley Tucci, though.
But
he's allowed to play gay only because he's done it long enough that I'm just like, all right, you know what? It's more your personality than even who you are at this point.
Well, why do some people get a pass and some people don't?
I think you said it earlier, because if you're cute, you can do anything. It's just like, if you're cute, you literally can do anything in life. You can like, I stabbed you, but like...
But, I don't think I need to see Neil Patrick Harris play gay anymore.
Oh, no.
Did you see the new show that he's...
No, I mean, we talked about that earlier. How doing the whole thing I just discovered Grindr for the first time. How do I use this?
Yeah. Oh, I've never been to a bathhouse. Bitch, please. Anyway, personal experience. Anyway, talking about playing roles and being involved in Hollywood. We are speaking to a 3-time Emmy Award winner, Glen Alen. Right after high school, he embarked on a 17-year career with the Regis Corporation, becoming a national educator, award-winning hair artist, and award-winning salon manager. During that time, he worked with major brands, Smashbox, Lancome, Estée Lauder, Makeup Forever, Urban Decay. We've seen his work in print, film, music videos, and commercials. And after he left Regis, he went off on his own as a very well-sought-after film and television makeup artist. His work has been seen on Drag Race, Legendary, A Star is Born, The Greatest Showman, Penny Dreadful, Masked Singer, Dancing with the Stars U.S. Tour, America's Next Top Model, Days of Our Lives, America's Got Talent, Key and Peele, which Key and Peele, I love that show, by the way. I'm watching it now. Why didn't I catch it when it was first on? Brilliant.
You just probably didn't watch Comedy Central that much.
That's exactly true.
Yeah.
List goes on and on. He's worked with celebrity standouts Lonnie Love, Rita Moreno, Rosie O'Donnell, Tamar Braxton, Mel B, Lisa Gibbons, Raquel Welch, Pat Benatar, Kathy Griffin, Lisa Rinna, Betty White, Carol Channing, B. Arthur, Debbie Gibson, and so many more. And as a performer himself, his drag creations and celebrity impersonations are works of art unto themselves. And evolving his own drag style, he created the Drag Makeup Academy, which he teaches his techniques and looks around the nation. And if you've ever seen him perform, your jaw just hits the floor. It's not drag. It's not... I don't even know how to explain it. Please welcome Glen Alen. 3-time Emmy Award winner, by the way. This is the cheesiest question. This is the cheesiest question, but I love asking, where do you keep your Emmy Awards? Like, it's so cheesy, but I'm generally interested.
It's not cheesy. Actually, I have an amazing apartment here in Hollywood, California, built in the early 1920s. So there's these built-in...
I love built-ins.
Natural wood and a serving area in the middle where people would put their, food to serve it onto the table. So that serving area, at first when I moved in here 16 years ago, I kind of was starting putting pictures on, like what you normally do when you move into a place. And I thought, you know what, this little serving area would be great for a statue. And so since in life, I've learned, build it and they will come. I left it blank. I didn't put pictures there. I told the universe that's where a statue goes. And so the universe put 3 there. So
you manifested that.
It works.
How quickly after that moment did it take you to win those Emmys, to manifest it?
Very long. A long time, actually.
So it was empty for a while, collecting dust.
Here's the thing. When you pray for something, put it on the universe, God says, no, not now, and maybe later. So you just wait. You be patient for anything.
Well,
but you still didn't answer my question, though. How long did you have to wait?
I really don't remember for the first one. The first one was Days of Our Lives. I've been doing makeup, let me do some math for you, for about 16 years for film and television. So I'm going to say that maybe it was 10 years ago for the first one. Then the second one was for The Real, and the third just last night. When it was aired last night was for Legendary, and that's on HBO Max, and that's the ballroom, the houses.
Yes.
Dance competition. And they are so brilliant, so talented, so full of life. They are young people of, some disenfranchised people of color, minorities who have struggled in their life. And I love the story, of perseverance and success. That is what their life is. And I have to thank, first of all, RuPaul Drag Race for telling those stories about our youth, gay youth, transgender, and then also Ryan Murphy for Pose, bringing the trans people to the forefront and putting 5 trans women in the starring role of Pose.
And how thrilling to be awarded for a show that celebrates our culture. Who would have thought day one at the Regis Corporation, that you'd be winning an award for a show that's so outwardly celebrates our community. I mean, that just wasn't what was happening in entertainment.
Well, think about like back in the day, the idea of winning an Emmy for something so publicly gay
That's
as
what I
that
mean,
would
yeah.
never happen. It would be like, no, you're going to be on that weird channel that's only at night at 2 a.m., like in the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah, no, mainstream. I mean, literally everybody around the world was watching and knows about you.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. So the first thing to my success is my happiness. It's not my awards, and my happiness comes from gratitude. So therefore, my awards come from gratitude, from perseverance, and from working hard. That's my main message, I think, to people, is not that I am absolutely not the most talented makeup artist, performer, whatever label you would put on me. But I do try to be one of the most grateful of those.
Well, and I love that. So if we're going to leave a space for 10 years before something manifests, that means I have 6 more years in my bed then, because it's been 4 years empty. And I'm going to fill it. Now, when you have a hookup come over, do you put the Emmys away, or do you cover them? Or do you show them off?
Yeah, no. They stay right where they are. No. I'm not. I don't hide anything. I am who I am. I'm, as you've seen, many people have seen or not. I'm kind of one of the more masculine, kind of butch drag queens, kind of in the limelight or in the business. So my skills in staying relevant are that I stay teachable, and that I change and evolve and create, and I don't get stagnant or stuck in one thing. That's what I don't want. I don't want to be bored. I am blessed to have, I feel like, experienced the 80s, where really being unique was the focus. Being different, not being alike, not buying the same thing, not having the same thing, not doing the same thing as everybody else, but actually just being your individual self. So that's what I continue to make an effort to do, and not be like everybody else.
Well, I think that's what I admire about your career is, even, you started off studying oil painting as a kid and learning about colors, but you're constantly evolving, you're constantly changing, even your career, from National Educator to winning awards for being a hairstylist, and then a salon, manager. I mean, there's this definite evolution, and I think this is what made you so in demand, is you showcase somebody's differences, as well as keeping up with the trends. But at the core of, I think, your creative process is letting the person that you're doing their makeup or their hair, letting them shine through as part of your art.
Yeah, I try to customize. I teach. Here's the thing. I worked for the Regis, doing hair for the Regis Salon Corporation for 17 years. During that 17 years, I was a national educator, a salon manager. I learned a lot about discipline, but I want to tell also, just as a side note, that I've been in recovery for multiple decades from drugs and alcohol. So there's a spiritual program that I'm involved in that also teach principles of gratitude and service and courage. So I wouldn't want to not mention that. I also would mention, too, that people out there who also have been challenged by HIV, I've been a survivor for that for decades as well. And there comes a certain gratitude for life with that as well. I'm really lucky to be here for a number of reasons, to be alive on this planet, and I don't take that for granted. So I really want to experience what life has to offer. And I don't want to be afraid of the gray area, meaning the unknown, meaning trying something new, meaning I don't want to be afraid to fail or make a mistake. Because I feel like the greatest lessons and the greatest growth is from making mistakes. And so therefore I would not categorize a mistake as bad or wrong, but just part of growth.
Let's talk about your sobriety a bit. I mean, it's a theme that I think the LGBTQ community is now talking about, because for every Prides before, every type, it's just like, oh, sober. That means you're not fun. That means you can't participate. And it's only recently that I've become aware of safe spaces that are built into Prides for the sober community, and how strong the sober community is. Can you talk a little bit about balancing your sobriety, but also being a thriving part of the nightlife, the Pride community, and also entertainment, which we know entertainment, drugs and alcohol it's a big player in that industry. How do you balance all that?
I think that's a great question, and it's a constant exercise. And as far as sobriety goes, if people have experienced it, or if you're wondering, there are spiritual exercises. I call them exercises that we practice. I practice on a daily basis, and that is certain aspects of gratitude and service and self-acknowledgement of my successes and yet also my mistakes. So putting those on paper, I look at those each day, what I'm grateful for, anything I'm afraid of, and I give that all to God, and whatever you would call that, the power of love, the universe. To me, God is a one-syllable word. Just makes a sentence flow. It means nothing. It belongs to no religion. I love the saying that religion is for people who are afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people who have already been there.
I love that.
And actually, I am more spiritual.
I love that. How did you move from hair to makeup? What was your first exposure to actually doing makeup?
I feel like being an artist when I was young, being a gay artist, I just had that inkling to experience more than the average homo. Basically, also a drag queen is basically just a person with too much fashion sense for one gender. So I just wanted more. And, one of my mottos is more is just a place to start. So in doing hair, it's just, here's the thing. I also design all of my costumes. Not all, some I have other people do because I want to celebrate other artists. But I got accepted to fashion school during high school. My dad was going to let me quit high school and do that because he was a tailor. But the counselor said, well, have you thought of what we can offer here in high school, which is the ROP program, to go to cosmetology? So I did that instead and saved my father $20,000. So he was happy. And so that was the beginning of doing hair for 17 years.
Do you mind if I ask you? Did your father care that you were gay? Because it sounds like he did not. He didn't care.
No. So we'll circle back around after 17 years of doing many clients for 17 years, managing my salon, hiring or firing staff, and that whole roller coaster. But they weren't staff to me; they were family. They were a team, and we worked together. And so, really, I was facilitating, helping them learn all the ins and outs about running a salon and how to be their own business person, how to be their own salon manager. I'm not a manager or a leader that wants all the accolades for leading people or the one being in charge. I'm just a facilitator and helping them be the best they can be. And then being an educator, that was really the one thing I missed. Is teaching. So when I had some time under my belt in the makeup world for film and television, here's the thing. I've been performing as a drag queen, celebrity impersonator, club kid in the clubs since high school. So it's always been part of who I am, and I've never gave that up. Even though people older, as they get older, and I'm 53, are looked down upon if you continue that, because it's looked as childish or also emasculating when you get older. I don't believe that. I've heard from a number of people who are either in relationships, and they tell their other half, their spouse, I really want to do drag, and then the other partner says, if you do, I'll break up.
Wow.
It's just still a thing. I think that is a taboo, even though it's there's a TV show about it. Still is taboo on a personal level for many people. My dad was a Navy guy for 22 years. So why he accepted me being a homo is kind of beyond me, because he's also Mexican.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So in that culture,
military,
it's not an okay thing.
Yeah.
We didn't discuss it, but I remember in high school, I wanted to go to the fashion school. And so I made dresses for my drag shows. And so I said, Dad, can you take a picture of me in my dresses so I can show the school what I make? And he just said, yes. And we went to the backyard and had a photo shoot. He took photos and took me to the fashion school, and I got accepted. There's no putting me down for it or saying I was wrong.
Yeah, you definitely lucked out on that end.
I also take some of that as some of my strength to be who I am today because of that acceptance. So I always say to parents around the fucking world is accept your kid, because your acceptance is going to make them a success. It's going to make them a happy person. It's going to make them make this world a better place if they're happy and doing what they love, versus if you don't, then they will somehow take that and be possibly self-destructive with drugs and alcohol. There's a number of reasons, and circling back to that, drugs and alcohol in our community, there still is a lot of shame, I believe, because I am in that world of recovery, about sex. Yeah. And that somehow is a cultural, phenomenon that we demonize sex. We've demonized gay sex for so long, and it is still demonized, but not on as large of a scale as it used to be. But for some reason, really, for some gay men, many gay men, to go out into the world and claim their sexuality, they need a little help with drugs and alcohol, especially crystal meth. So that is something I think that is detrimental to our community, and we need more solutions to that problem.
And I actually agree with that, and this applies to every single person out there, not even just people who are suffering from addiction, but like every single person I know that like loves to drink or like party, all that. You need to learn how to have sex and enjoy it sober. This is to everyone listening. It is not a question. You need to. Because it will truly change your life. It will change your self-esteem. It will make you it's going to be hard, and you're going to be bad at it, and you're not going to like it, and it's going to take a while. But like, if you need to be drunk to flirt with someone, that's a problem. If you need to be high to enjoy an orgasm, that's an even bigger problem.
I mean, it's very true. I came out super late in life. I started having gay sex super late in life, and I just didn't have the confidence, number one, in what I looked like, and I didn't. It was so ingrained to me by Catholic Mexican culture, by the way, that it was such an evil, awful thing that I couldn't, without drinking or whatever, to loosen me up, whatever. And it was a very scary thing to have sex sober for the first time, and I'm talking about a couple of years. It's like, no, it had to always come with alcohol. So I mean, that's a huge point. And the whole demonization of gay sex, well, we came out of the AIDS epidemic, and it was seen as gay sex was made such an ugly thing, and now we get hints of it now talking about monkeypox and how the government and how the media has kind of demonized that it's gay men that are spreading this terrible disease. And I've heard from people that have gone through the AIDS epidemic, it's exactly that kind of, like there's not medical resources available, and that it's really pinpoint. It's like, oh, it's a gay sex disease, which, how awful, for somebody growing up wanting to come out, and this is the message that they're getting all across.
But I will say this, in the end, because now, like, knock on wood, pretty much the monkeypox outbreak is over. I'm very proud of our community, not our government. I'm proud of our community, because we are the ones that, like, while the government was like, we don't know where the vaccines are, we're like, all right, girl, I'm going to find them over here. I'm going to message to you. Somebody in this state, I know you're struggling, so here's a state that's available right next to you. We all did it. We did it ourselves.
Right.
Well,
unlike, the COVID vaccination problems with Trump and the the AIDS solution with Reagan, I think we'd already learned our lesson
Yes.
in letting other people
Don't wait for them.
in charge of helping us and saving our lives.
Yeah.
So lesson well learned.
Well, I'm going to say it probably also had to do with the fact that people could get scars on their face for life.
No.
I think that scared a lot of the gays.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying because the biggest issue wasn't about the vaccine, about wanting the vaccine. The biggest issue was about how to get it
100%.
and being denied to get it. So we've had to help each other to find where to get it. We had to tell them the secret words to say to get it, because they were telling people, oh, well, you're just not going to get it. You're not going to need it. And they're like, I'm a sex worker. Trust me, I need this.
Yeah. And Glenn, you touched on something that never really I thought about until you said it. It's like the stigma of being a drag queen. As popular as shows like Drag Race are, and now everybody's watching it, it is funny, on the cast themselves, it's mostly younger people. And so when, like, the oldie of the group is always seen as like, oh, it's always the easy joke. And we're talking like maybe
in
39
their 30s,
or 40. And it's so ridiculous. Right. And I have also been to drag shows. It's like, oh, well, that's an old queen. It's like, well, what about the drag generation that made it safe for these young kids to be doing Drag Race, and where drag wasn't always the most popular, it wasn't a lucrative career that now it has become? What about that generation that has made way?
Well, like, I've seen Gen Z before, like, say, like, snide comments to say Coco Peru and a Jackie B.
Those Lady Bunny.
They'll literally be like, who are you? And I'm like, you should know who they are, and they're also still relevant. So it's like they're still here
and can actually do comedy, can actually make their clothes, can actually do their own makeup. I mean, entertain.
Well, that comes with the evolution of social media and commercialism. But that's part of my journey. But with all of that said, I think outside help, therapy, and really taking a look at your own insecurities, your own fears, how to overcome them and be a unique success versus the pressure of being a commercial success. I am not a commercial success. My Instagram numbers are low, but I am happy with the numbers that I have, because the numbers, like, I don't need to be popular worldwide and have fame for the people who appreciate me to matter. The people who appreciate me, although it's a small group, and yes, they may call me a legend because I've been around a long time, they mean the most to me. My small group of followers, of supporters, mean the world to me, and I don't need more than that to be happy.
And I would say in fact, like I said at the top of the show, I don't even know, I would categorize what you do as what we think of drag today. I think of drag today, somebody else does your gown, somebody else does your makeup, you put a filter, and then you put a picture on Instagram, and you're a drag queen. Well, I've seen you perform live. I've also seen, your photo shoots and whatnot. It's more like an art performance. How would you describe your drag to somebody that hasn't seen your work?
Well, thank you, Alexander, for supporting me for so long, for so many years. We go back. And Teddy Bear, we've danced on stage at Barracuda. And, and I love that fact. I love that I can perform in West Hollywood and also be a host and entertainer at Barracuda with the Bears.
Which do you prefer?
Neither.
Lies.
Each of them are so equally and amazing. But variety is the spice of life. I think part of the humility of what I do is that I don't need to look like a showgirl all the time. I don't need to look commercially pretty all the time, because that's what Instagram is selling. YouTube 100%. Is selling, is showgirl makeup all the time, gorgeous cheekbones, lips, the highlighter, the eyebrows. It's just that look that everybody wants. And being a celebrity impersonator, I can't go on stage and look just pretty. Right. I need to look like an older Jewish woman, Bette Midler or Barbara Streisand, or Amy Winehouse, Cyndi Lauper, quirky Bjork, quirky characters that aren't showgirls. So I'm okay with not looking like a model all the time. Also, we have to do 3 numbers in one show many times. So for people who are in drag, I don't blame them for sticking to the showgirl look, because you have to change your costume, and that's enough.
Yeah.
But I have practiced changing my makeup from showgirl to Bette Midler, or from Amy Winehouse to showgirl, or from Bette Midler to Lady Gaga. Like, that's what I do backstage. So I'm capable of creating any role I want on stage.
Well, and I love your Instagram lives, because sometimes you'll share that with your audience. It's like, okay, we're changing the full face. And it's remarkable watching this like 15, 20-minute process. It's like, it is fascinating. Talk about art. Like, it is definitely a work of art.
Which brings us to this girl behind me, too, which is Upside Down Girl. And since I come from the 80s and part club kid, which is a term, really a New York term, but that's what I was in LA. We just come up with different various looks that we think are unique in our head to go out for that night. So this I thought up on the way home from work one day from Days of Our Lives, and just put it on and did it when I got home and went out to the club. So
it's like a prosthetic nose you put on above your nose, and then
I had to do it really quick. So this is quick. This is a half mask on my. Let's point over here.
Yeah.
Half mask from my lips and my nose, upside down on my forehead.
Okay.
So the eyes I painted.
Yeah.
Under my eyes. And now, when I have more time and I'm going to host, I paint the lips and nose on my forehead. So I can do it either way.
Which do you prefer?
Whatever's necessary. It's not. I will say I prefer makeup, because that is my skill, right. And it's not, it is more difficult. It's more challenging, and I like to be challenged.
Glen, I want to know your opinion. Being formally trained, winning 3 Emmys for your makeup work, the trend of TikTok makeup experts, YouTube channel mavens, who literally just put on makeup in front of the camera. What is your take on that? Are those actual makeup artists? Is it a fad? Does it have any substance to it?
I think it's the tried and true commercialism of the standard beauty look that will probably never go away. Meaning, models are picked for their golden ratio. They're picked for their proportion of their face. The golden ratio is the mathematical equation. Let me show you. Leonardo da Vinci used it when he painted the Mona Lisa. So this is the golden ratio. It's a mathematical proportion of how a face should look. Wow. I'll show you another. So this is the mathematical diagram. It's very unflattering. Let me see if I have another. Basically, these lines are the mathematical proportions of beauty. And it's how Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa. It's also the mathematical equation that plastic surgeons use when they're altering a face to be more beautiful. They follow math. So that's just it. And the golden ratio is what is flattering to the human eye. So if you're born with it, or if you get surgery to create it, then you're already going to be more popular or more successful as a makeup artist than someone who does not have the golden ratio, which is me. So there's that. So that's what I teach. I teach the golden ratio. I'm going to move. In my class, I teach the golden ratio first, so people understand what balance is, and then I teach the highlighting and lowlighting, that it happens naturally in male and female faces. Then I teach bone structure. Then I teach the color theory before I teach makeup. So most Instagrams or YouTube videos just are makeup painted on a pretty face that's pretty already. And I have to paint faces that are not so like feminine
Yeah.
in Wayne Brady into something that's more feminine.
Wow. Now, you have worked with a number of celebrities of all different types, all different facial structures. What has been one of your most challenging projects that you're like, wow, that was a doozy, but maybe like was a good challenge?
I think we'll go back to this. Wayne Brady,
Who's so sweet.
for Kinky Boots. We
Yeah.
just did it at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
Great musical. They first suggested I do Wayne Brady in drag, and it was no problem to me. I can do that. Then they told me in the middle of the musical, he takes his makeup all the way off, and you have 20 minutes to put it back on.
Damn.
So this is him in 20 minutes. I have to do that
Wow.
to him.
Wow.
And the only reason I was able to accomplish that is repetition. Repetition is the mother of all skill. If you want to be good at something, you have to do it over and over and over again. So the fact that I did not give up my drag performance, my celebrity impersonation performance, and was able to practice my transformations in my drag shows from one character to another, helped me do this and be successful. So it is what gets me jobs actually these days. When 20 years ago, my drag life was separate than my TV and film life completely. They did not fall together. They did not mesh together. And then came RuPaul and RuPaul Drag Race. So I'm so grateful for him. And so now many TV shows and movies want and need a drag queen in them. And so I get many calls. And that's why, I was called. Actually, I was called twice for A Star Is Born, the Lady Gaga version, A Star Is Born. Interesting story. I was called once to audition as Barbra Streisand for the gay bar scene because there was going to be a lip syncer on stage.
Right.
And they thought it'd be great to have Barbra Streisand because she did play
Of course.
Star Is Born. And I nailed, the audition, I felt, but I didn't get the role. And so a week later, I got a call then from the makeup department saying, hey, Glenn, we need a makeup artist for A Star Is Born. There's this drag bar scene and we have a lip syncer on stage who needs its makeup done. Well, that was going to be my role.
Well, you auditioned for. So you're like, well, it's not me.
Like, oh, really? Okay, let's see who replaced me.
Awkward.
Anyways, it wasn't Barbra Streisand because maybe they couldn't get the music or
sure.
whatever.
Yeah, Barbara she would not say yes.
No.
Yeah.
But it was Bradley Cooper's college actor friend who actually got the role. So totally fine. And he was a charm to work with. And so I ended up working on A Star Is Born, regardless of whether it be a cast or crew.
Now, for some of our audience that might be a makeup artist themselves in Hollywood, what happens when you have a really difficult celebrity? Because I have a few other makeup artist friends that have horror stories of actors showing up not ready for makeup to be put on them, or not enjoying the process, or just being an outward bitch.
That comes from there's a number of things that goes into that. Honestly, I am trained I'm just gonna say can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Keep my fucking mouth shut. Do your fucking job, show up, get your feelings out of it, and do your fucking job. So there's that, and that's where I come from. But I'm not walked on or walked over or disrespected to the degree that I feel that I go home and feel bad, depressed, or angry. I'll do my job. And if it's not if that's what the actor or director or producer or whoever wants, I take my feelings out of it.
That's got to be tough, because I know every one of us performers, we have a healthy ego. I mean, that's what makes us good performers, I think. So that must be hard, I would think, to kind of put that in your back pocket and do the job.
It is. It's not, I think it sounds like a hard thing. I think the repetition of my spiritual program protects me from evil. I don't end up with people like that. That's not what I attract. And so people who know me in the industry, really it's who you know in this industry that recommends you to a certain job. And I really am offered jobs that go with people who fit my style, that are more grounded and grateful, and positive. So what you put out is what you attract.
Yeah, and I
the
always
oldest story in the book.
and I always tell people, like, you don't have to say yes to everything. Like, if you work with somebody that they're like, oh, they're horrible to work with, well, you also agreed to work with them, and you're still working with them. So
Yep.
you're also part to blame too.
There is that, and so biting your tongue is such a great skill to have when you're in that situation. I have molded my life now, and this takes time. To people who are young, you may not be in the position to do this, and to say no to jobs right now, but you can mold your life to be a place where you can. I'm a makeup educator. I teach in groups. I teach one-on-one. That is a job that gives me income. I'm a celebrity impersonator, drag queen, and club host. That's a job that pays me bills. It gives me money. And then I'm a makeup artist for film and television. I don't have just one job. So if something makes me, if I don't want a job or a gig in any of those, I'm happy to say no because I have other opportunities. I don't put all of my eggs in one basket. So I always tell people, have multiple skills
100%.
to fall back on.
100%. But I do there's, I think, a new message happening in the entertainment community. I know even the young gays that come to West Hollywood, they say yes to everything that they could possibly do. And it's like, no, this might not be a healthy choice for you, especially if you have other issues, to be putting yourself in a certain environment. It's okay to miss out sometimes. It's okay not to always be at the table, especially if it's not a quality table. And I'm sure you go through this, having go-go'd across the nation. It's like, some environments are not safe. Some environments are not healthy.
Well, that's also just from getting older and learning to say no, and learning to love to say no. Because I remember when I was younger, I would feel almost ashamed to say that's not right for me.
Yeah.
Because I would think
You'll never hire me again.
Not even that. I didn't respect myself enough where I was like, who do you think you are that you can say no to something? Now as an adult, I'm like, and just like you said, I don't really get approached by things that I don't want to anymore because I don't attract that anymore. But but I started changing that by saying no to the things that I didn't want and giving room for the things that I did want to come in. It takes patience, because there's always that awkward silence where you're like, all right, well, I said no, and now I'm waiting for yes. Now nothing's happening right now, but it's worth it.
Right. And one of the untalked about subjects is finances. Yes, I'm an artist, but I am my own manager. I'm my own agent. I am my own financer. So I need to know how to manage my money. And that means, here's the ugly truth that many people don't want to hear. That means you have to live, and I live, within my means. So that means you don't spend more than you make.
Say it again for the back row.
You don't spend more than you make. And what that does is I'm not desperate for money. I don't need to take that job because I don't overspend. And when I buy a car, I buy one within my means that I can pay. I get a 0% interest for 2 years, and I buy a car that I can pay off in 2 years. So that way I never pay interest on a car. I never pay interest on a credit card because I don't spend too much.
That is such an important message, and I think that should be taught to all of us in the entertainment community and even the drag community.
School. That should be taught in grade school. There's certain things
100%.
to have a successful life that are not taught, that should be common sense.
But even some of the girls coming off of Drag Race, they're booked everywhere for a year or a year and a half, and it's like, oh, the money's just going to keep coming in, and they're doing their cameos, they're doing that, and then a new season of Drag Race pops up, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot you were in Drag Race, and they've spent all their money because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or they're traveling all around the world, or they're not saving. And I think also, Glenn, that comes from your sobriety. I mean, I'm victim of spending too much when I'm too tipsy. Right. Even at the clubs, I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh my God. Or I agree to do certain things, or I purchase things that I never would purchase in a clear state of mind.
And that's just a human condition, that, it's a human condition. We all have ego. We all are tempted to compare our insides to other people's outsides. And to fix ourselves, we need to get A, B, or C to make ourselves equal or better, and improve ourselves. And the commercialism of Instagram and all the selling techniques, it's all about selling, it's all about marketing, everything now. And I didn't grow up with that much, but the kids these days that have to endure that bombarding of the selling to them, oh my gosh, I just don't know how they do it. I don't know how they live within their means. It's got to be harder. Yeah.
And I also think it's to hold yourself responsible as a performer. Just because you're a performer doesn't mean you're given license to be a diva or to miss a call time or to be so in your creative mind that you are difficult to work with or take care of your finances. And I think, Teddy, you do this really well as an artist, as a performer. You are very responsible. I've never known you to do anything that's irresponsible. And it's like you can't use the fact that you're an entertainer as an excuse in the real world. You just can't.
No, and I think most of us agree. There's not many divas. I really don't come across many divas at all in my business, even with the RuPaul Drag Race celebrities. They're nothing but kind and gracious. And, people in the industry know who I am. Yeah. And I get a lot of respect and appreciation from the path that I've paved, so to speak, that people would say.
Maybe that's also maybe why all the RuPaul girls are nice to you.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think you're getting the same people that I've seen backstage.
Most likely,
100%.
Yeah, you're an incredible makeup artist, so of course they're gonna be nice to you. They're like, oh, I need him.
But I don't have a show of my own, and you know what I mean.
Do you want a show of your own?
No, but I don't. I'm not going to book them because I don't have a show. Like, they don't have to kiss my ass because they can't make money off of me. So there's part of that too. But I just want to say to people who that are under the gun as far as what they're doing for a living. Many people would rather do what they love for a living, but they're stuck in a job that they have to do. And my message is always, yes, do the job that you have to do to pay your bills, but on the weekends, please do what you love, whether you're making money at it or not. Please paint, please dance, please drag, please play an instrument, please do or learn something that's a passion. And that will make the rest of the week, I promise you, less miserable.
I think that's so important.
And also, again, talking back to not necessarily sobriety, but our culture tends to make it where they say work 5 days a week and then on the weekend get blackout drunk. And that is not the solution to happiness. That is not the solution to getting your passions, anything. Because if you are blackout drunk, you will not have energy to wake up and do the things to do the things to get you out of the job that you wanted to drink that weekend for.
That's 100%. Right. And every weekend's a little bit farther away and farther away, farther away.
But because of capitalism, you want that cycle to continue, so people stay in jobs that they hate and they don't. It's a whole long thing. We're not getting into that. We don't have time. But
I'm glad we touched on it. And there is no bad or good. I never label something bad or good. It's just the journey of life. It's just ups and downs, and we either learn from it or we don't. And if we don't, you will get another opportunity to make the mistake and learn from it, and you will continue. If you don't take the advantage of that challenge and learn from it, you will have the same results. And insanity is expecting different results from doing the same thing.
Oh, I feel that. Glen, you are such a joy to chat with. I'm so excited for your success in the industry. And again, if you ever have the opportunity to see Glen perform live, just do it. It's magical. Can you tell everybody where you want them to find you and follow you?
Yeah, if you're inclined to do so, it's Glen Alen, either on Facebook or Instagram, GlenAlen.
Fantastic. And Teddy, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Mr. Teddy Bear Gurrrl.
And you can find me on Instagram at AlexanderIsOnAir and also on Scruff. Anyway, send us your email, your comments. Continue listening to the show. You can find everything about us at bearwithusgurrl.com. Watch and or listen to all of our episodes. Glenn, again, a big thank you. And enjoy those Emmys in your house.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful to have spent some time with you both.
Thank you. And I guess until next time.
Until next time.
That has been another episode of Bear With Us, Girl, presented by Bear World Magazine and Cybersocket.com.
Please take a moment to like, subscribe, comment, rate, all the love and support you can give, guys.
Questions, comments, and suggestions? Email us at bearwithusgirl, 3 R's, @gmail.com.
Until next time, embrace the fur.
Grrrl.
Grrrl.